I get the ick really easy nowadays.
The ick is when a girl suddenly doesn't like you for almost no reason.
No, it's not. The ick is what happens when a woman perceives a particular behavioral cue of yours as weak. Since on a biological level, women are helplessly attracted to strength and power in men, anything you do or say that can be interpreted as weak will slightly or significantly, depending on the magnitude, reduce the attraction she has for you. That is what the ick is. It's a feeling of a decrease in attraction. Now, notice I said decrease in attraction, not killing of attraction. That's because contrary to what all these girls on the internet are telling you, it takes a lot more than just one ick to completely kill attraction. Let me explain. The graph you see behind me is what I like to call the scale of attraction. The y-axis here represents the level of attraction a woman has, and the goal of every man when they first meet a woman that they're attracted to is to move up this y scale. The higher up you are, the more attractive you are to her. The lower down, the more repulsive. The way you move up the scale gradually is through attractive behavioral cues. And no surprise, you move down with weak, needy, feminine behavior. Now there's about 3 things you need to keep in mind when it comes to this scale. The first thing is all attractive/unattractive behavioral cues are not equal. For instance, using unattractive behavior as an example, we can all agree that being overly nice, accommodating, and submissive are undesirable behavioral cues that move you down the scale. But being a weak crybaby that's needy for her validation has a higher magnitude of unattractiveness, if you want to put it like that, and will move you even faster down the scale of attraction. If you were to put it to like a point system, you could say being overly nice deducts 10 points, but being a crybaby deducts 30. Second thing you need to know about this scale is that every girl, whether they realize it or not, has this scale in her head. But it differs from girl to girl depending on her unique worldview and personal experience up until that point. Basically, because each woman has their own unique perception of power, it also determines to a large degree how their own scale behaves. For instance, sticking to that crybaby example of before, some women, in certain unique circumstances, can interpret a man crying as strong. Or even more accurately, some women see men crying as strong as long as it's under certain conditions. Some other women will never see a man crying as strong, no matter the conditions. See the point? And that brings me into the third and final thing you need to know about this entire scale. This point here, the one I've marked the danger zone. You've probably been wondering about what this is. Out of convenience, I call it the danger zone, but what it really is an individual woman's bare minimum threshold for attractiveness. Guys have our own version of this line. It's called the fuckability line, right? Every woman on this planet has this point in her mind that represents the bare minimum to get her wet. Anything below this point and you're instantaneously unattractive. Understanding this point here will help you understand all these ick videos you see on the internet. Because what women on the internet don't seem to realize themselves is that when they're talking about the ick, they're really referring to that very moment that guy in question crossed this very bare minimum threshold of attraction. If those women on the internet were being honest, they would tell us that those guys in question were already doing a bunch of things that were taking them down this entire scale up until that point. But they're only talking about the climax, the crescendo, not the build up to that point. And now because these women on the internet didn't do a good job at articulating themselves, everyone now thinks their girlfriend or fiance or wife will break up with them if they use both hands on the steering wheel instead of just one like a cool guy. It's a lot of unnecessary fear mongering and it's making my job fucking harder, okay? Look guys, if you're doing the bare minimum to improve yourself on a daily basis as a man, then it's gonna take a lot for you to get to this danger zone here. And please let me reiterate, it doesn't take just one mistake for a girl to lose attraction for you completely. No matter how hard you try, you can't be the big bad alpha 24/7. I'm sorry. You just need to make sure you're on a net positive with all your attractive behavioral cues. Over time, all the things you've done right should overshadow all the things you've done wrong, and you should be fine. It's been Jace, your favorite scientist. Do with this information what you must.